Hey guys, Allison here. Are you dealing with overwhelm? And maybe your to-do list is a mile long. I know mine is. And sometimes it's just knowing how much we have to do and not knowing when or how we're going to get it done can zap our energy to get anything done. So, here's a suggestion. You will accomplish more by committing what not to do. So, what do I mean by that? There's a time and a place for everything. And sometimes we have something on our list and might be there for a long time. And maybe it's not relevant anymore. So sometimes we need to purge that list. Sometimes it's something that doesn't have to be done maybe for 6 months or a year. But as long as it's in our mind to do, particularly when we're holding it all in our brain, it can be very, very overwhelming. So what I would suggest is this. Find like some kind of tool or system for yourself to record everything. Now that sounds like it's really going to be overwhelming, but follow me. It could be index cards. It might be a notebook. It could be an online tool like Trello or Asana. Both of them are great. You might want to check them out. They both have free versions. And they're basically project management tools. Trello is more where you can kind of create bulletin boards to keep track of things. The value of that is having one central place where you dump everything, because some things are on this list, some things are on that list, and things are going to be falling through the cracks, and some things we put on our calendar and some things we forget to put on our calendar. So think about what works for you. Some people like to write it physically down. That's awesome. Whatever it is that works. Get everything recorded, and then we're going to work on categorizing those things. Now, one little tip that my coach gave me that I have found super helpful is to just rip up scrap paper. I just have to keep little pieces of scrap paper like this in my desk drawer. And every idea and harebrained scheme that occurs to me, I just write it on a piece of paper and I keep a little box on my desk and throw it in there. So I don't have to stop and organize it during the day, because then that takes me off track. So at the end of the day, or more likely for me at the end of the week, I go through those little pieces of paper and write them where they need to be to put. Now I'm using Asana as my system right now, which I'm finding really helpful, because I can categorize it by business, by personal, or by project. And everything goes there. Now, you can assign a date to certain things. You can look at it and see, all right, what's coming up that needs to be done soon? And by looking at it that way, we're not looking at everything that needs to be done at the same time. I also have what they call a someday maybe list. Things that don't really need to be done. I'd like to do them someday when I have time. I'm going to organize all my family pictures. Maybe. I don't know if I'll ever do it. But it's on the list, but it's on a separate list, so it's not cluttering my brain. I think it's important at the end of the day, whatever is on your mind, or even during the day, get it recorded and have one system for it so that it's not clogging your brain. I mean, a therapist said to me recently, like, I have so much trouble transitioning, like I'm stressed after work. And I said, well, when are you writing your notes? And she's waiting a couple of days to write her notes. I said, do it right after the sessions. Now we're done. We don't have to think about it. That was a lesson I learned the hard way, right? Years ago, I used to leave it. It was always in my mind. I got to remember this. I got to remember this. No, I don't. Write it down. You don't have to remember it anymore. You have a record of it. So by devising one system that works for you, it could be, like I said, index cards, right? It could be a spiral notebook. It could be a loose leaf notebook so you can move things around. But whatever it is, record everything in one central place, and then we need to prioritize. Like I said, there may be things that we thought about doing a year and a half ago that isn't really relevant anymore and what doesn't really need to be done. So either we delete it, throw it on your someday maybe list, all right? It doesn't need to be done. What we want to do then is look at what needs to be done and then make a firm decision of what does not need to be done. For example, if you take a few days off, now maybe you're in a business or situation where you do need to check email once a day. Okay, then you do that. You schedule it and you do it. But if you're taking a vacation or a day off and you don't have to do that, commit to not doing certain things. Now, a lot of you may be doing social media, right? You're on social media, you're reading this and reading that, and it can be very upsetting, and it can be very stressful, and it is a huge time suck. It really is. So to look at those things right now that are zapping your time and energy, You may enjoy social media, which is fine. All right. I love Pinterest. I get ideas, I get recipes. Set a time limit, set a timer when you're doing that, and categorize that as recreation. And maybe you need to be on social media for business, so you categorize that as one of your chores for the day for business, but put a time limit on it. The goal is to get control of your life and not feel overwhelmed by your to-do list. All right, we want that to don't list, which is just as important. What are the things I'm not doing today? And once I take it off my plate, I don't have to think about it. All right, because the whole idea is we want to be more productive with less effort. So I hope you find that helpful. There's a great book called Getting Things Done. I'm going to put a link to it underneath this video. You might find it really helpful, but it's basically that principle, a lot more detail, of having one central system and following it and committing to what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, so that you can live a life that's more peaceful. Because if it's, kicking around in your head, it's always active and it's stressing you out, and you don't need that. The goal of life is to reduce our stress so we could be more productive, more present, to all the goodness around us, our families, our children, our spouses, right? And to the world in general, the good things we need to be present to. But we can't if we got all this stuff running around in our head. All right, so I hope you find that helpful. Take a look at the link below this video for Getting Things Done. I think you'll find it helpful. Make sure you like and share the video. Appreciate it. God bless you.